All right. Welcome to 120 Grit Podcast, Episode 3. We're lucky enough today to have a good friend of ours, Lara Kelly, or as she's otherwise known, Larzy the Sparky on Instagram. Lara, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Tell me, it's I look at your Instagram and it's pretty bloody cool, and you look a bit different today because you don't have dirt all over your face.
Yeah, I do sometimes wash myself once a week usually.
Tell me, how satisfying is it to knock off on the tools and make it to the showers afterwards and have a good clean up? Because I know when we used to knock off and come home from work and with the dust mask lines on your face, and yeah, it always feels like you've accomplished something that day. So
sometimes takes like 45 minutes to wash all the coal off you, but it's a good feeling when you are finally clean, that's for sure.
All the coal.
Yeah.
What is coal? What do they even do with coal?
Got no idea.
So you're an electrical apprentice?
I am.
How did you come to get into that?
Well, I'm obviously a little bit older than a lot of apprentices you might see these days. I'm 26, obviously, not 17. Yeah, it took me a while after I finished school actually to figure out what I wanted to do as far as career-wise went. I dabbled in a few different things, went to university for a little bit, worked in corporate health, worked in agriculture, but I grew up on a farm. I always loved getting out and getting stuck in, and that satisfaction you get from, fixing something or making something that works that has never worked. So that's when I figured out that I wanted to do a trade, and yeah, electrical was something that really interested me, especially automation and all that kind of stuff. And I had a younger brother who worked in the mines, and that's something that was super interesting to me. So I started looking at getting into that.
What did you do at uni?
I did a bit of a lot of things. So straight out of school, I went and studied psychology at University of Western Australia. I only did that for a semester, and it wasn't really for me. And then I went and did a year of primary school teaching, actually.
Yeah, right.
Like teacher's aid sort of stuff, or at uni studying it?
Yeah, studying
right.
at uni,
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
Interesting.
So how big's your HEX debt?
It's pretty big.
Do we not want to talk about that?
I've paid it off now, and then I started an engineering degree, so it's
oh my God.
I got rid of it and then
got another
started
one
working on it again.
Yeah, right.
That's good fun.
University of Western Australia.
Yes.
So you're a WA girl.
I am.
Gal.
Born and bred in Western Australia, yeah.
Whereabouts?
Southwest of WA. I spent probably the last 11 years before I moved to Queensland in a little town or city called Bunbury.
Southwest WA.
Yeah, about 2 hours south of Perth along the
So
coast.
is that near Esperance? No?
Not that far south.
Sweet.
No, Bunbury. I was in WA earlier this year for a wedding down Margaret River.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
cool.
Absolutely beautiful.
It is a
It's
beautiful
like
part of the world.
The nicest coastline I've ever seen. Is Bunbury coastal?
Yes, it is a port city, Bunbury.
Yeah, right. Yeah, okay.
There you go.
So, I guess, how'd you make it to Brisbane?
That's it's a very long story, but basically, I was working over in WA in the mines. I worked in gold and iron ore over there. Needed a bit of a change. I was in a bit of a rut in my life. Decided I wanted to go do something just by myself on my own, put myself out of my comfort zone a bit, and I thought, well, why not move across the country?
Was there any reason you chose Brisbane?
No, actually, to be honest, I was applying for apprenticeships all along the East Coast, so Mackay, Brisbane, Newcastle, down towards Melbourne. I was really lucky, actually. I got offered a few, so I got to choose where I wanted to go. And yeah, Brisbane, I've been there once on a stopover on a flight, seemed pretty cool. I thought, why not?
Well, that will do me.
Seemed pretty cool. It's one of those places, actually. I've found Brisbane as one of those places where lots of people move to.
Yeah.
Yeah, people do live here, Dan.
But lots of people move to Brisbane.
Oh.
Right. I moved to Brisbane. I moved to Brisbane for 2 weeks,
Yeah.
9 years ago, from Sydney, and I never went back. And I
Yeah.
seem to meet a lot of people who have found Brisbane to be,
Because it's cheaper than the majority of the other major cities, I would presume.
Actually.
That would be one main reason.
I'm interested about, so you're a mature age apprentice.
I am.
Ed was a mature age apprentice.
Damn good one too.
Wow, he
Is
wasn't that
mature
good.
though, or?
Signed off in
No.
3 years. Boom.
Was,
That's recorded too, and I'm looking straight at the camera. That's
Straight
content.
down the
you know why
barrel.
he was signed off in 3 years?
Because they want to get rid of him.
Yeah.
That and
Yeah.
because I was his trade.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Yeah,
really?
yeah.
Oh,
so
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
That explains a lot then.
yeah, well, what do you mean?
Nothing.
No,
Supposed to mean.
No, I really want to know.
Yeah, explain yourself.
I've seen you on a Hitachi blower.
Oh,
yes. Yeah. What Lara is referring to there is a photo shoot that we did recently, a high-vis photo shoot featuring some of our friends and tradies.
New friends.
Friends. And we were trying to achieve a bit of a Marilyn Monroe-esque sort of vibe.
Yeah.
And obviously being tradies, we had to use the tools that we've got, and that was a Hitachi blower or Hikoki. It was a Hitachi blower, but now it's Hikoki.
Well, it hasn't been rebranded the blower, so you can still call it Hitachi.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so
Sweet.
yeah, no, I'm
Cross that bridge.
Putting on a blower. So becoming a mature age apprentice, but you've gone from finishing school. I guess there's that natural. What am I going to do with my life?
Did you go straight to uni?
I did, yeah.
Oh,
I said, I didn't really know what I wanted to do when I finished school.
Like most people.
No idea.
Right.
Yeah, I guess. But when you're in high school, the school I went to at least, they really hammered that you get good grades, you go to university, you get a job. Like, that's the pathway. So for me, I was like, oh, okay, well, I finished school now and I got good grades, so I guess I'll just pick a university and pick a degree and go give that a crack. So
I think that's pretty common. I hear that a lot. Many people, they finish school and, the natural next step is to get a degree because that's what most people do.
Yeah.
So many people fall into this, trap or belief that that they need to do that because that's kind of what everyone else is doing. But it takes, I know for guys particularly, it takes us a lot longer to mature in general, but especially, coming out of your late teens and early 20s, and no one knows what they want to do. No one knows what they're naturally good at or what, but a lot of people do feel the pressure to have to do something.
yeah.
Did you start your trade straight away?
I started straight away. Yeah, straight out of school. So I got into University of Western Sydney to do construction management. And when we had to put our preferences down, I was like what you wanted to study. I was like, oh, I don't know.
Eeny, meeny,
Yeah,
Yep. Geology.
Yeah. I'm only just figuring myself out now.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, it was, I didn't really feel like uni was the go. And so I did a trade because, it's a good skill to have. And I don't ever regret for 1 second doing it because you learn so much on the job and just work ethic and, the people that you meet and getting up, a bit of structure, getting up at 6 a.m. every day or 5 a.m. every day and getting to work and doing your, 8 or 10 hours or whatever it is. And, it's one of the most valuable things I've ever done because it really sets you up for so many other things.
Yeah, definitely. And I agree. There's so many things that you can't be taught in a classroom that you just learn through going out and getting life experience. And I think, like you said, having a job and having to get up early and having to, wash your clothes and rock up in a presentable state, and that's things that you can't teach someone in a classroom. It's something that you have to learn by going out and having to be a fully functioning adult in society. So
Yeah, 100%. So run us through, so you moved to Brizzy, got the job as an apprentice. So was that with a job here in Brisbane or was it in the mines up north?
So the job is actually just at a mine just out of Moranbah. So that's where I work. I live in Brisbane and I work fly in, fly out to site. So we do a week on, week off roster. So I'm obviously at home at the moment in Brizzy for my week off.
Are you in Brizzy right now?
Am I?
This is Brisbane.
This place here is off the map, actually.
Yeah, you're at the Mud Hut.
The Mud Hut. So you mature age apprentice in the mines. Did you know anyone else that was working there at that mine site?
I didn't actually. Funnily enough, because I was already working and living over in Western Australia, when it came to doing all the recruitment and stuff for trying to get jobs over here, a couple of them I flew over for job interviews. I was pretty lucky with the job I actually ended up taking that I was able to do like Skype interviews with them because I was doing like a 2 week on, 1 week off roster in the mines over in WA, and just the way the cookie crumbled happened to be that a lot of the time I was away at work when they were running specific parts of the recruitment process. So yeah, I was really lucky, obviously, with technology as it is these days. I was able to go through that recruitment process in a semi face-to-face way with them from the comfort of the sunny Pilbara.
Yeah, nice. Okay, sweet. So I suppose, you built that relationship through the interview and stuff, and obviously you trusted them, got the job, rocked up. Let's walk through the first trip up to Moranbah and that walking into a mine site full of what I would stereotypically say is 99.9% blokes. that
Did you have
are
like
21 to 50.
Yeah, expectations.
Go.
Did you have like preconceived ideas? Did you have any ideas at all?
I had, I think, so there's 4 apprentices at my site. I was the only one, obviously, having come from a mining background in WA. I think I had a little bit of a better idea of what I was going to be walking into, but you're right, it doesn't stop being any less daunting, I guess, when you're one of not that many females walking into a site where it's predominantly males and predominantly a lot older as well.
Yep.
But yeah, it's always, I find it quite exciting actually. Like, I love new opportunities. I really like putting myself out of my comfort zone. So I get, like that kind of nervous excitement. It's always good to see, you never know what you're going to walk into kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah. Awesome.
Did you say one of 4 apprentices?
Yes.
So on a mine site of how many?
Oh,
Roughly?
thousands. I couldn't tell you how many people work there.
Thousands, like potentially thousands.
Yeah.
4 apprentices.
Yeah, and we were actually the first apprenticeship program that they've run at this site too. So we were the first ever apprentices that they've had there. The 4 of us.
Wow. Okay. I didn't. Yeah. Right. I didn't realise that the numbers were so small
Of apprentices.
of apprentices. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you don't get an apprenticeship as a miner.
Well, no, I know, but so what exactly do you do in the mines as a Sparky?
So at the moment, I split my time between what they call fixed plant and infrastructure maintenance and field maintenance. So fixed plant and infrastructure is looking after like your wash plant, which is kind of a processing plant, or your conveyor systems, yard machines, stackers, reclaimers, all that kind of stuff. And then the other portion of my time I spend is in field maintenance. So I don't know if you guys know much about the mining industry, but here in Queensland we have these massive big machines called draglines. So our site has 4 draglines and 1 electric shovel. So in field maintenance we obviously maintain those.
Okay, because
Right.
obviously your apprenticeship is an electrician.
Yeah.
Right, that's a general electrician, but as you're saying, you don't get an
Well,
apprenticeship.
you wouldn't.
in
Well,
mining.
I would picture that majority of the people that are on a mine site would be qualified because
Yeah.
their mine are subcontracting people to come and work for them.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't expect.
But like as an electrician, like the jobs that you're doing are obviously specific to mines, and it's stuff that you don't see anywhere else.
Yeah, that's it. So obviously I have a bit of a different perspective. I do TAFE here in Brisbane with obviously all sorts of walks of life of electricians, I guess, people that work in all different industries. What I do is vastly different from someone who maybe just does commercial, who might be working on shopping centres or something like that, or someone who's just purely doing domestic. So I technically fall under, I guess, like the industrial hat as far as my apprenticeship goes.
Yeah, right. So you do go to TAFE, obviously, and I just remember from my time at TAFE, you'd go and you meet all sorts of different people, and the natural thing to do is be comparing what you do for work with each other, and you hear all these kinds of different stories. But I always had this feeling when I went to TAFE and I would chat to guys about what everyone else was doing, that I can't, we don't do that, what why aren't I doing that, or I don't know how to do that, and I sort of always had this kind of nervous feeling like, these guys are doing all this other stuff, but I don't know how to do that. Like, am I going to be any good at my trade? I
think that everyone feels that a little bit to some degree. I guess you could be doing something that's so difficult and so in depth, and something that someone may never do their entire trade, but you still look at them and you think, well, they do something completely different to me. I've got no idea how to do that. I work on a conveyor system, but you ask me to install a downlight and I still get that nervousness because it's something that I don't do all the time, and it's hard. Like, you don't want to fall into that trap of always comparing yourself to someone who's, doing the same trade as you, but might be doing something completely different to you. And, they might install a downlight 30,000 times and never even touch the thing that you've ever worked on.
Yeah.
So
It's all perspective.
It is, yeah.
100%. But it's an interesting, it's a very easy, job specific or life in general. It's very easy to fall into the trap of comparing yourself to everyone else, because that's kind of all you've got to go off.
That's it.
In a way. So, interesting. So I want to know about life on the at camp.
Camp life.
Yeah, because how many other females are there around the camp?
So as far as places I've worked, so I've worked at a gold mine in WA, and I've also worked at an iron ore mine. This site that I work at currently has the highest ratio of females to males, which is nice and refreshing. Good to see more chicks around, but still obviously largely skewed towards the men. I personally find I get along with most people. I don't have a problem with, going down and hanging out with the boys or hanging out with the girls. So for me, it's pretty cool. But I know, like I said, it can get overwhelming, especially if you're new to that environment and perhaps if you were a bit younger as well. So we have a few apprentices who are a lot younger. It's probably pretty daunting walking into that environment, especially going into the mess, walk into dinner by yourself and there's hundreds of other people sitting at tables and you have to go get your little plate and get your food and stuff. It can be a little bit like...
Makes me think of like movies or it makes me think of what is all over Netflix at the moment, all the prison shows.
Oh, yeah.
Did you ever watch any of those?
Yeah.
I don't know why I like them, but they're just something about them.
One day.
Yeah, or walking in with the trays or, in the movies, got to find someone to sit next to.
Yeah.
Like...
And steal their tots.
Can't sit here.
Shoot someone at dinner. That doesn't happen.
So, male-dominated mine site camp. How is, we've spoken about, obviously they're dominating, but there's ever been times when you felt uncomfortable or blokes have sort of been out of hand or run us through that because...
Yeah, so I reckon when I first started working in the mining industry, so I'm 26 now, I've been in the mines for about 5 years or so. So when I first started, I was 21, 22, which is still pretty young. So like I was saying, the first ever site I went and worked at was a gold mine. And actually the week that I started there, they had a full plant shutdown. So I think they had something like 1,200 additional staff on site, extra contractors just for this shutdown because there was just so much work on. And I'll never forget that first morning. So it was a drive-in, drive-out site. I drove to work 3 o'clock in the morning or whatever it was, checked into my room, went to go get breakfast before I went to work, walked into the mess at breakfast and there was just 1,000 people in there. I couldn't even see another chick. It was just all guys and it was just holy hell, this is a lot. And then, working that first week, obviously still trying to figure out what I was doing and where I needed to go. And even just I made some friends pretty quickly. I used to work in the warehouse. So with the guys that I was working with and, we'd go down for a beer at the wet mess after work. It was really daunting. There was quite a few guys who were a bit, I guess, shocked to see a girl, let alone a really young girl being at a site. And I know some people don't really know how to behave in public, I guess I can
Some
say.
people don't know how to behave at the best of times, let alone in a room full of guys that have never seen a girl walk into a mine site.
Yeah, so that was pretty overwhelming for me, but I was really lucky actually. The guys that I was working with, they were pretty quick to tell guys to shut up. Sometimes you just don't need to make stupid little comments. And
for the most part, guys are guys are good.
That was where I was going. I was it'd be interesting to know how good they were because we get a pretty bad rap sometimes. I know there's always a bad egg, everywhere.
Yeah, that's it.
But it's sort of as a whole, has the experience been good?
Yeah, I've been so lucky, honestly. I feel so blessed because I've met so many awesome people and I've made so many friends through working in this industry and people who I'll be friends with for life. So even the most recent place I worked at, I met people that lived all over Australia. So Queensland, Melbourne, Adelaide, the whole kit and caboodle, who I still stay in touch with now, and I've been here for nearly 2 years. So I have some, and I think too, when you are working away, people tend to really pull together as a community. And I know personally, I felt we're a bit like a family, so that's really nice too. They've always got your back, you've always got theirs.
Yeah, yeah. So working in the mines, a lot of people talk about how it's, I know you're still an apprentice, but people are on high amounts of money. It's high stress to the fact that it's, long hours, long shifts, 7 on, 7 off's your roster. Are they educating people how to look after their finances and how to look after themselves and, that work-life balance to a degree?
To be honest, I think the site that I'm at now has probably been the best for that. I think, obviously being on a 7-7 roster, this is the most family-friendly roster that I've worked on. I think there is a lot more of, awareness about, not getting caught up in that long swing and, shutting the world out outside of you. And I know the last place I worked at, we did a 2-on-1 roster. So 2 weeks away is a long way to be, a long time to be away from family and friends and stuff like that. It is really easy to kind of put your blinkers on and lock yourself into that work mode and then sometimes ignore the fact that you've got all this stuff going on outside. So I found being on a more family-friendly roster, the companies tend to be a lot better at encouraging people to have a better work-life balance. So I've definitely enjoyed doing this roster as far as that goes.
Yep. So there's not. So probably my point more is, are they giving employees, like are they educating employees about how like what? Let's say, for instance, someone was struggling with their mental health. Like what's the go-to at your site?
So we've got an employee assistance program that our employer provides. So they have services. So I know ours is through a company called Griffin Psychology. Basically what they've got, and they have flyers and magnets and stuff everywhere. I know all of our camp rooms actually have a magnet in there which has Griffin's hotline number. So if you do feel you need to speak to someone, the company obviously has an arrangement with the psychology company so that you can call and speak. And I think they give you 6 to 8 sessions, which the company pays for if you ever need that kind of support.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, and I know as far as like on the tools level, the supervisors and stuff are always really approachable when it comes to things like that, which is really good, having like those open lines of communication with people who are kind of on the floor with you, and then like workmates and stuff as well. So they're always really approachable, which I've found is pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
Do you know? Do people use the hotline, like the EAP, that you're aware of, or do people talk about it? Like
maybe not so much people like talking about it, but I do know of people who have used it, and like you're saying with the financial awareness, so you don't have to call up the company because you're having problems with your mental health or something. It might be something as simple as, okay, well, I'm having trouble with my finances and that's given me a lot of anxiety. So you can call up them and then they can kind of point you in the right direction. They
that's
obviously
good.
have like a lot of companies that they work with as well, so they can point you towards other services if that's something that you need within that employee assistance.
I think that's an important point you raise because the thing is, when you talk about the mental health stuff, I guess, people have a tendency to think, mental health, it means you've got depression or anxiety or whatever. But like the reality is, anxiety, you can feel anxious without having anxiety, and things like finances or job security or, relationships and family back home, this is what causes so many problems for people. So I think the understanding is that you can actually access your EAP for a wide range of reasons, even to talk about your finances or, you've got some problems with your kids or whatever. Like that's the reason why it's there. It's not to call them up and say, hey, I'm depressed or I don't know why. There's always a reason or something, why it's there. So I think coming at it from a far more, educational and an open mind, perspective where that's kind of the reason why you can use that. It's probably a really good service in place. Yeah.
Let's talk about the Instagram.
Okay.
So what made you start Larzy the Sparky?
Yeah. We're switching from Lara Kelly now.
Okay, I'll put my other hat on.
You got to put your other hat on, please. Welcome to the show, Larzy the Sparky.
Let's discuss why you started it.
So obviously, like I said before, I'm a mature age apprentice. It took me a while to figure out what I wanted to do career-wise. And I know when I was a bit younger, for me, like you were saying, you go out of high school, you don't know what you want to do, and that can be a source of a bit of anxiety and, a bit of mental anguish because you feel like you need to be doing something, but you don't know what you want to do. For me, it took me a while to figure out I wanted to do a trade. And now that it is something that I'm doing, like I honestly love my job. Like I would just want to go shout from the rooftops, like how much I do love my job. And the satisfaction that you do get when, something breaks and you're out there and you're the one that fixes it, or you solve a problem or something like that. It's like, I just can't describe how good a feeling it is. And you guys obviously being tradies, you probably know that feeling as well.
It's really satisfying to waterproof a wall or, anything like that, isn't it? Like when
see a project come together, you're
seeing
just
a project come together for sure. Well, it's a tangible result, isn't it?
You can look back at the end of the day and say I did that,
Because the
drive past a house, I wired that house.
Well, the difference is, I completely agree with you, because now working for us, working in an office, like this job, we absolutely love it, right? But so often I'm on a computer and I'm not the most computer literate person. I spent 10 years on the tools and all I ever had to do on a computer was send a timesheet, and I could do that from my phone. And so, so often I have this feeling of like not feeling like I'm not accomplishing that much with my day because I'm trying to get stuff done on a computer. But, compared to that pulling out the tools and working a day, you actually really feel like you get something done and you can see it, right?
There's plenty of days when you don't feel like you've got anything done.
Oh, yeah, it goes both ways, hey? The frustration and the success.
Yeah, it swings both ways.
Who does?
It is. It's
when they're working on a site.
Speak for yourself.
So
It's an accomplishment.
So how long ago did you start your Instagram?
I think I started in December last year, end of last year.
So what's that?
7 months, 8 months.
Oh, yeah, right. This last December. Okay.
Yeah,
okay, wow.
December,
Your
December.
messaging, it looks great. Like the whole, I mean, I know I've started asking you about, the satisfying feeling of washing your face off, but like literally, if anyone wants to check out Larzy the Sparky's Instagram, it's literally pictures of her with a filthy face after a hard day's work.
I just fell over in a car
just
park
like
and
rubbing charcoal on your face and pictures of massive rigs that you've been working on. Yeah, it's
But
really cool.
It is. So my whole thing, obviously, for starting it, not knowing what I wanted to do for so long, is I want to encourage more people, especially like chicks. I know there's not a lot of females who are in trades, and for me, I just want to be able to share what I do and, show people that there is this awesome satisfaction that you get from doing something with your hands, and, getting a trade is such a viable career option. So for me, the more people I can show that and encourage to, give it a shot. If you don't know what you want to do, why not go out and
go and try it. Try your hand.
Yeah.
Try your hand.
Even just going and doing work experience or something like that. There is, there's a way to figure out where you want to go with your career.
It's pretty popular. Say popular. I'll rephrase. There's never been a better time. There's never been a better time for chicks to get into a trade. It's I feel like now more than ever, big employers are really supportive of getting females through and equality in the workplace and all that sort of stuff. I look at the fire service, Queensland Fire Service, New South Wales. They're all about getting women in who can do it just as well as anyone. I guess, what would you say to anyone who wants to get into the trade, any females that want to get into a trade who are thinking about it or, a bit unsure?
I would say just go give it a crack. Like I said, you don't have to go sign your apprenticeship paperwork and, sign your life away for 4 years straight off the bat. Even just getting out and doing a bit of work experience. Like I know personally, when I first figured out I wanted to go do a trade, I wasn't really sure what trade I wanted to go into. I went and spoke to a whole heap of different tradies, and my brother was a diesel mechanic. So I got to kind of get a bit of an insight about what each kind of trade did. So I think actually such a good thing about Instagram, it's such a good tool too for giving people an insight into what they do. I know as far as even just in Brizzy, we've got chippies and plumbers and all different trades, and just going on there and having a look at what they do, and it gives you a bit of a better insight. But yeah, it's no better time than now to give it a crack.
Yeah,
that's great.
What about
stuck in.
What about do you pull your phone out at work? Or are you allowed to have your phone with you at work?
No, I'm not. So on the actual mine site that I work at, we're not allowed to have phones anymore. So if I'm doing stuff at work, it's usually back at camp at night or whatever. And then obviously I do a bit of stuff when I'm here at home. I work usually a day each break for a mate of mine who has an electrical company down here. So we sometimes get the phone out there and film.
Get a bit of content happening. So
Awesome.
that's on your 7 days off. Yeah. So just tell us a bit about that. What do you do to when you come home from your swing? Are you shagged? Like, are you a bit buggered after your 7 days on? Or?
Yeah, so I usually get in on a Tuesday night. So we get in about 9:30, 10 o'clock by the time you get home. I usually like to leave Wednesdays as my kind of couch potato day, chill out at home, do some washing, just kind of unwind. Kind of depends on what kind of stuff we've had on during the swing. Like I know this last swing I've had at work, we had a massive shutdown on, and that was just the whole swing of just absolutely flogging through the work, really like a lot of physical labour. It was quite mentally draining too, obviously, with a time crunch and that kind of stuff. So when I got home this week, I was pretty buggered. Yeah, I think I went to bed at like 11 o'clock and I woke up at like 11 the next day, and I was like, oh, I must have needed that 12 hours sleep.
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, I think there's absolutely nothing wrong with being a couch potato. Like, we have to, we encourage that, just there's nothing wrong with doing nothing. I think so many people often get caught up.
Yeah,
but not doing nothing all the time.
Not doing nothing all the time.
State that. Look in the camera, state it.
I think you've nailed it. So what do you sort of do to kind of unwind a bit when you come back?
I like to hang out with mates. go out for lunch, go out for dinner. When it's a bit warmer, it's a bit cold here.
So you're
Probably being a bit of a sook at the moment, actually, because it's still like 15 degrees in Brisbane. But when it's a bit warmer, I love going hiking.
Where do you hike?
Up at Glasshouse Mountains,
Yeah,
up
nice.
towards the sunny coast. There's plenty of cool mountains up there.
like Tibbergargan.
Yeah, Beerwah.
Beerwah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mount Nungun.
Yeah.
Beerwah Lookout.
Nungun, is that how you say it?
I don't know. Don't quote me on that.
Yeah, because I've always wondered how you say it, because this is like a silent G or an
Yeah,
N
it's
or
like
something.
N-G-U-N.
Nagun.
Nagun.
That's not how you say it.
I don't know. I say
Yeah, cool.
Nungun.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to go with that.
I'm
Sounds good
sold.
anyway.
I'm sold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's we've seen a photo that's popped up quite randomly. It's of yourself at the mine
Yep.
with a fella who we know pretty well.
Oh, yeah.
Run us through the story before you give away who it is. Just
Okay.
run us through the story.
So I was at the Wet Mess, or it's the pub that's at our camp, I guess you would
Wet
call it.
mess.
So
wet-
can you just
Oh, to get you up on the lingo, okay.
Yeah.
So there's the Wet Mess and there's the Dry Mess. So the Wet Mess is like the pub, and the
Okay.
Dry Mess is like the food hall cafeteria thing.
okay? So there is a pub you're allowed to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So at our camp, we have obviously like a food hall. We've got the little pub. There's a couple gyms. It's just like a little village kind of thing.
Yeah, righto.
But yeah, so I was at the Wet Mess, the pub, and I spotted a strapping young fella in a trademark shirt, and I was like, oh, this is so awesome. So anyway, made a beeline for him, and I was like, hey, I love your shirt so much. And he's like, oh, thanks. It's a conversation starter about mental health. And I'm like, it looks so good. Like, so we were just having a yarn, and then he goes, oh, actually, I'm Ed's dad. And I was like, no way, really?
Big Ken Ross.
Big Ken Ross.
You're
Big-
kidding me.
Big
Yeah.
Peter.
And
Yeah, good on him.
So tell me, was he how? Because I'm really interested to hear how this goes down, because from the Ken Ross that I know, or that I sort of met, a bit of a knockabout sort of. He's an old old cocky, a
Call
bit
him
of a
that.
farmhand,
An
Yeah.
old cocky.
Good
yeah.
old-
bit of a farm and all that sort of stuff. I don't know, Ed. You tell me. Look, has your old man ever worn anything Larry in his
Nah,
life?
shit, no.
Yeah. Okay. Righto. So apart from the fact that it's your one half of trademark, so he's
Mm.
obviously supporting you.
Mm.
How did his conversation go down? Because I'm really interested to hear how people actually
How it happens. Yeah, how it
handle
happens.
the what they say about it. What he said before that it came up that he was Ed's dad and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, so obviously we were talking about how much we both, love the work that you guys do, and how especially being in that environment, like as I said, you're up at work. I think we were mid-swing as well, so it might have been 3 or 4 days into our swing.
Yeah.
Sometimes having a conversation like that, the pub's a good place to do it. And I know
Yeah.
like when you're away and you're living on camp, really, unless you're sitting in your room or you're at the gym or you're at dinner, the pub is a place that a lot of people just go to unwind and kick back. And, you don't always have to drink, but sit down and have a chat and, talk some rubbish. So,
Yeah.
it was, I just said, I love the shirt. I love the work that the boys do. And he said, yeah, it's so good actually being able to, especially this time of the week, catch up with people, get a bit of a conversation going, and especially when you're the only person at the mess wearing a beautiful shirt like this and everyone else is just rocking their work digs.
Oh, he's a unit.
How proud was he?
He'd be sitting there.
was.
He'd be
I've never
sitting there
seen-
listening to this, and he'd be like sitting there smiling
With a
so
big
hard.
stupid
Okay.
grin on his face.
I'll
G'day,
see you
Kenny.
at dinner. I'll see you
Yeah.
at dinner this
Yeah.
week.
Does he listen to
Yes.
in the truck?
I don't know if he does. I know he sits at home and watches the videos over and over. That's why we get so many views.
He does. yeah.
Hey, Dad.
Yeah, it's Sue Ross and Ken Ross.
Yeah, Sue Ross and Ken Ross.
on repeat. So you don't know if he listens. Are you allowed to listen to?
Well, you can't have your
music
phone in
and
there. So
radio
You
how
can
would you-
download podcasts and put them on a USB and you can play them in the truck.
Oh, you can?
Yeah,
There we go.
I know lots of the truckies actually who do that. Download podcasts and listen to them in the truck.
Cool.
So out there, so the wet mess. I'm still interested in the wet mess because I really didn't realise that you could. Yeah. That you
Well, we
could
need to
check
slot
on
the
site.
photo up there now. So.
Yeah, we'll take. Ken.
Post-production.
Ken Ross,
Post-production,
you're
Dan's
in
going to
there.
insert
Yeah,
the picture.
you'll see the photo.
You're in there. Yeah, we'll chuck it in. But I'm interested to know about, like, say at the wet mess, for instance, like how emotionally available are the guys there? Are the guys sort of, talking much about their personal lives and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, but when they talk about their personal lives, are they talking about what they have got or sort of...
How they feel, like if they're
Like, what's the-
struggling, like...
I suppose it depends on, I guess, the rapport you have with a person. So like I said, a lot of places that I've worked previously, once you obviously get to that point, you're living and you're working with these people all the time, you really do start to develop friendships. And I think like once you get to a certain point, then people do really slowly start to open up about that kind of stuff. And I know it can be a good support system actually having people at work, knowing that you can go to them and speak to them if you are having a tough time. And I guess people who work in that environment have a bit of a different perspective than people on the outside might do. So I know I've got plenty of guys who I've worked with before who've opened up to me a lot about, what they've got going at home and maybe things that they've been struggling with, and like even talked about avenues that they can take to like try and sort stuff out. I know people who've gone through divorces and deaths and stuff like that, and it's only exacerbated by the fact that, you're away from home, you're away from your family, you're away from your friends, and you're working long hours. So to be able to have people around you who, might be going through similar things, who are open to listening to what you want to say is so helpful. And I know I've lent on my workmates in that way before, and it is like, I honestly would say like it is a lifesaver knowing that you can speak to them about that kind of stuff. So
yeah.
Sorry, go on. You go.
Thanks, Dan.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, do you find that blokes confide in, the ladies on site more often than?
Yeah, I think actually the way the industry is going, having more females, I think definitely, and especially like with the work you guys do and with other companies do as well. I think having chicks in that environment as well, obviously, as you guys know, females tend to be a little bit more open about talking about feelings and stuff like that. And I know plenty of guys who maybe feel like they can open up a bit more to a female maybe than a male or something like that. So I think it's going to be a good thing having chicks in that industry, more represented for that reason as well. So
it's an interesting one. We think about blokes. Well, the reason blokes don't talk is because they think it's weak, right?
Essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would think it's funny that, blokes are more likely to talk to ladies there about that. And if it's a sign of weakness, you would think that'd be the exact opposite person that they would confide in.
Well,
would you not think? I don't know.
Yes, sort of, but I guess
it's sort of.
I think it's more about the when you're surrounded by a lot of blokes, you kind of don't really want to show your perceived weaknesses to the guys so much.
Yeah, too, that they're not going to react in the way that you hope they will. They might just go, suck it up. Whereas a chick might be like, I'm sorry that you're going through that. Like, that's pretty shitty. Is there anything I can do to help?
Maybe it's because women are more empathetic.
Maybe that
easy
like
to
nurturing,
talk.
Yeah,
that
more
nurturing,
a bit more
maybe
maternal instinct and all that sort of stuff.
Mm.
Because we had Rachel, who was on that at the photo shoot with us.
Rachel Castro. Shout out to Rachel.
Shout out to Rach.
I'm waving at you, Rach.
She's in Newy now.
Stop waving to everyone on the camera.
That's my new thing. I've got my own camera. I love this. Hello.
I've just smacked the levels on the audio. I was going to say
disruption.
Rachel was one of the first on a building site. I met one female tradie in my whole time.
I've never met one,
and she was a painter
on site.
Yeah, residential. At work. Yeah. Talking to Rachel, who I met last year through a fella who we were sharing an office with, she was talking a lot about the fact that she gets so many guys opening up to her, on site because they do feel more comfortable with her. And she said to me, I'm not sure if I know what to say. I'm not sure if I know, like, these, there's lots of people out there who need, help or a bit of a support network, and I'm not, too sure where to direct them. And I said to her, look, it's awesome that they feel comfortable with you. Like, that's fantastic. Like, let that flow for sure. Because people are, ultimately like a powder keg, and anything can make them explode at any time. So releasing that pressure is, the number one thing for anyone to do. But it's about listening. You don't need to try and solve anyone's issues, right? You don't need to be there to tell them, to fix, all their problems, all that sort of stuff. It's just about allowing that pressure valve to just release a bit and to just know that you've got a bit of support around you and that it is okay. But, like, how do you, I guess if more people want to open up with you, like, are you good to deal with that? Are you good to be that person? You find it, you're pretty natural to do it?
Personally, the previous place I worked with, I've had times where I've had, you know, heaps of shit going on at home, and I've been having a really rough time being away, and I've really lent on, like I was saying before, some of my co-workers and guys who are friends and stuff like that. And like you said, sometimes it's not about solving the world's problems or solving someone's issues or anything like that. Sometimes you just need someone to vent to. Sometimes it's as simple as just sitting down and just saying, I've got all this shit going on in my head, and me sitting alone in my donga is really not doing myself any good. I just need to speak. I just need to let it all out. I just need to talk to someone about it. I just need someone to kind of just listen to what I have to say, so it's not just me going around in circles in my head.
Yeah,
so
100%. And it's getting it out of your head. It's you can't rationalise things in your own head, because it just becomes a bigger problem than what it ever needs to be. But I was just thinking, I think an analogy, you know, around like the pressure valve or the exhaust, like it's like a truck, a mine truck without an exhaust pipe, right? Like, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, look out.
Look out, because if
up
Ken
the
Ross
wheel.
is
Ken Ross is
driving,
driving but no exhaust pipe.
no exhaust pipe,
Oh.
like, it'll just sort of explode,
Yeah.
right? And it's exactly...
Blow a head gasket, I'd presume, for
Well,
all
I don't
mechanics
know
out there.
anything.
I'm not sure. I'm just
I don't
putting
know
it out there.
anything
Put it in the
about
comments.
cars.
Put it in the
He's
comments
just
below.
Googled some
Yeah.
stuff. He's just throwing words out
Yeah,
there, hoping
yeah.
some of them stick.
So I guess, life happens for absolutely everyone.
Yeah.
No one gets through unscathed. Absolutely no one. So have you had times where you've been, you know, out on the mines mid-swing and had, you know, personal, you know, things going on in your life that you've had to sort of be battling whilst still presenting to work and working 12 hours a day?
Yeah, so this is something I definitely feel really strongly about. Like I was saying before, I've had situations before where it's been like that. So my previous relationship when I lived in Western Australia obviously was kind of falling apart, and at the same time I was having to crop up to work and, you know, go away for 2 weeks at a time and be in a donga every night and work long days. And like you said, sometimes it's just like, you know, life's going on around you, and you can't just stop doing what you're doing, because that's happening at home, and there is kind of that expectation that you're not just going to drop the ball and just fall apart. So for me, I know in that situation I did really lean on the guys that I worked with, and like I said, it was as simple as I had so much stuff going on at home. Me sitting in my room at camp by myself, just going around in my own head, wasn't healthy in any way, shape or form. Remember, I called my mum up one night and I just said, Mum, all this stuff's going on. I don't know what to do. I just feel really like my wheels were spinning, I guess.
Overwhelmed a bit?
Yeah, really, really overwhelmed. And the first thing she said to me was, go and find some of your mates, go find someone to talk to. Like, this isn't a time that you want to be alone or be by yourself, and you're not in a little single camp room in the middle of the Pilbara. So
In your own thoughts, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I did. I went and I called some of my mates. I said, hey, can I come around to your room? Like, what are you guys up to? I just need someone to talk to. I'm having a rough time at the moment. And they were straight away like, yep, we're like here, come around. Do you want us to come to you? What can we do for you? And yeah, so I went around there and just sat down with them and just poured everything out, I guess. Had a bit of a cry, told them what was going on. And, you know, like we said before, sometimes you're not sitting there asking them to solve your problems. Sometimes it's just that getting out of your own head and not feeling like you're going crazy in your own room by yourself. So for me, that was just a massive weight off my shoulders immediately, being able to tell someone, or tell a couple of people actually, what was going on. And you look at the two guys I was talking to, one of them's, you know, an old fitter in his 50s. He looks like an old miner, big beard, rough as guts. The other one's a bit younger, but, you know, they're not someone that you would expect that you could just...
Go and confide in.
A 23-year-old girl could go and, you know, have a cry and tell your life story to, but, like, I thank him so much because they didn't skip a beat at all. They didn't tell me to shut up. Nothing I had to say to them was stupid, and, yeah, can't thank them anymore for how they were for me.
That's awesome. That's really cool. But I think... The other thing is, like, once you've done that, I suppose, you know, if you've been through that, you're in a very foreign, or sort of a foreign environment, or a bit of it, you know, can be a daunting environment when you're away and you've got stuff going on, but you've found the, you know, the ability to reach, you know, put your hand up or seek help or lean on the people around you. So many people struggle with that part.
Yeah.
So many people struggle with that piece of, you know, putting your hand up and saying, oh, I've got this going on. But the reality is like everyone's had a relationship breakdown. Like most of the people out, you know, that you work with would have been through so many similar things. But it's that help-seeking behaviour where, you know, you actually commit to it and you say, yeah, right, I need to
do
vent
something
here, I
about
need
it.
to blow off some steam
Yeah.
here because but there's absolutely nothing wrong with it, and it's almost like the healthiest thing you could possibly do. And once you do it, once you realise it's not so bad, and you know people are helpful, and you know inherently they care about you, so that's good to hear.
And that's what I love so much about what you guys do, is getting people to stand up and say, yeah, okay, well, I'm wearing this shirt and I look funky as, but I'm also willing to listen. Like if you want someone to talk to, know that I'm a person that you can come and speak to, and I won't judge you, and I'm not going to laugh at you. And if all you need is to just sit there and speak to someone for 2 hours and tell your life story, I think more people putting their hands up and making it know that, like I'm here to have these conversations with you will help people to make that first step as well, knowing that there are people out there who do want to help.
I love that. You've just nailed that. I'm so glad that you've just said that so well, because like that's the thing. I'm not going to laugh at you, right? Yeah. That's like the thing that so many people are scared of. It's like they're so fearful of being judged, and they're worried that people will laugh at them, so they just don't. But
most of the stories we get back is all about people when they're wearing these shirts, is people laugh at the people wearing the shirts. Like our mate Charlie, like he's all the time. He's like, blokes will come up to you and start laughing. It's like, shit
do
shirt,
they make those
mate.
for men?
What's the go with this shirt? Start laughing at him, and he always just talks about how he just like lights up and just loves telling people about what they're about. And same with my old man, like, you know, when he ran into you, like he just lights up. So it's it's weird. It's empowering people to have these conversations, which is really overwhelming. Like we never thought it would turn into this.
That was the objective, but we didn't
think it would happen, because obviously it doesn't happen without other people. Like we could just sit up there and keep crying on about this is what we want to happen, but it won't happen unless people actually take it on board, and people are.
That's it. You guys have that passion, and you are spreading the passion to other people. And like you said, you see people like Ken, and he just lights up. He wants to tell you the whole story and like explain the story behind the shirts, and I think that's awesome. And the more people you can get involved in that is the better.
Well, it's all about we're out in Roma on the weekend, dinner Dancing Under the Stars event for Dolly's Dream Australia, and we had such a strange, not a strange encounter, an encounter that we have regularly, where we met a fella who first appearances was telling us how great everything was. We were looking at his business. We were looking at the things he was selling. He was like, this is so great. You
got to put it into context. He was about 5'6", and he was short, had the little terrier dog syndrome, where he was just yap, just flat out, just putting himself in this higher pedestal, and was talking about his marriage had broken down, how he'd bashed the new boyfriend and all this stuff. And then I was like, wow,
that context for that as well. Something happened with one of his daughters.
It was just like him setting his power. Like he was,
tough guy,
tough dude,
tough guy, successful.
And you look at him, tattoos, and he had the bloody
bum bag. What's going on?
Bum bag with
bum bag. You're not that tough.
He's not tough.
I wear it.
He's not that tough. He's not tough. That's the word.
I wear it a different way. Anyway, and eventually he stopped. After he'd finished, rambling on, telling us how great everything was.
Nothing could be better. Nothing could be better.
He goes, what's with the shirts? I was wearing the one that you're wearing, the Einhorn purple. And we said, we make them where they're designed to be a conversation starter about mental health. And his demeanour changed immediately.
His head went down, like instantly stopped.
His head dropped, and he was kind of stammering and stuttering a bit. And he said, he kind of didn't even have the words to say, but what he got out was that mental health stuff. That's real for me. Like he goes, and he went on to tell us that 6 months earlier his son had taken his life at Christmas.
Oh really?
Just gone out.
And it's awful, but and that's a super common story. There's so many people out there struggling with that, but. The point is that he dropped his guard immediately. He went from being this guy who was, everything was great on the surface, and
so busy being busy.
Yeah, and he'd done his job.
It's a coping mechanism.
But then,
it's how he's coping with it. But it's interesting because that's how people fall into these traps. Is that they're not being themselves, Like,
But also,
that is one of the main reasons why people fall down this path, because it's just like, he was just going 1,000 miles an hour, and it's easier for me to just keep putting this facade up and be this man, and no one needs to know what I'm going through because, I'm just tough.
He was really trying to, he was trying to impress us, right?
Oh.
Yeah, he was, and that's great. And honestly, I couldn't have cared less how much money the business made or turned over, whatever. I just thought the stuff he was selling was cool, right? Like, it was really cool. Like, couldn't have cared less, I already liked what he did. But yeah,
once you made the sale, stop selling.
Yeah, but that ability to allow, and that's really what we do want, to allow people to drop that facade and let their guard down and sort of drop that tough outer shell and, give him the opportunity to have a little vent. And he did. He walked into his trailer and he had a cry. And
totally changed. It was pretty unbelievable, the turnaround.
And that was we were out at the event at Roma, and we don't we know, I guess, what we like to talk about or whatever, but like that happened the day that we were out there, and that was the perfect thing to be able to talk about that night, because it's just, we need to cut the shit basically and just allow people just to,
But like, imagine if his mindset was more like, if, new people rocked up and he shifted his mindset to wanting to know how everyone was going, like, rather than be all him.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, imagine if he was more, because like he's in customer service. So like,
ultimately,
well, he is.
Yeah.
So it's like, how does, why isn't his mindset like that? You know what I mean? He's still obviously trying to cope with the loss of his son.
Definitely.
But it's sort of like, it'd be funny to see where that point is in his life where he switches that over and says, holy shit, like, it's not, let's make it, it's like, I've gone through this. I don't want other people to go through this. Why don't I shift? Like, he could be turning it into a positive as much as he could. You know what I mean?
I guess it's interesting to think, like, at that point in time, he was trying to impress us.
Yeah, right? No, but what I'm trying to say is that he doesn't need, like, imagine
he doesn't need to do that.
No, yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you come in and you're just like, hey, mate, how's your day going? You know what I mean? Like, what's going on? Yeah. Like, he never asked us about what the fuck we were doing. You know what I mean?
So anyway.
So, like, that could be, where's that point? You know what I mean? When does he change? Like, it's interesting. Could have happened on Saturday.
Could have
happened on Saturday.
Maybe it was a moment where he realised that, a couple of guys came along that he could be real with. Yeah. So I guess coming back to Larzy the Sparky, so where do you want to take, everything that you know? Because I look at you and I think this is a perfect role model of, girls who want to get into, the trade and all sorts of stuff. And you speak very openly and honestly about it, and you've got, with your range of experiences from going to uni and then into the mines, it kind of puts you in such a great position, as a role model.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
How do you feel about that? How do you, where do you want to, you obviously want to encourage, as many women, and females to get in the trade, but where can you see it going for yourself? Don't want to put you on the spot.
Answer now.
Actually, I've just recently been lucky to find out I'm going to be involved with a Women on the Tools speed couriering event. So NAWIC, the National Association for Women in Construction.
Did you just say Women on Tools speakering event?
So I'm slurring because I'm nervous. Speed couriering. That was perfect. Perfect. Yeah, sorry, go on. Couriering. Yeah, so NAWIC, National Australian Women in Construction, they run a Women on the Tools speed couriering event. So basically what they're doing is hosting a series of days at different TAFEs. So they're working with TAFE Queensland, and it'll be specifically aimed at kids in high school. So those same kids who probably are at this time of the year thinking about sitting final exams and having no bloody idea what they want to do when they finish school. I'm going to be involved in doing a couple events at a couple TAFEs in Sunny Coast, Gold Coast, here in Brizzy, just talking about, me having no bloody idea what I wanted to do when I went out of school, and obviously a bit of the experience I've had throughout going to uni and working in a couple of different industries and then getting into mining, and then finally obviously what I'm doing now. So for me, that's going to be an opportunity for me to share, my insight into the fact that you don't have to have it all figured out when you're in school. It's not the end of the world, and you can go out and you can, to put it lightly, fuck up and change your mind, and it's okay. And so I'll get to share a bit of my passion for what I do too. So for me, that was the dream come true. I was pretty pretty excited when they asked me to be involved with that.
That's
so
awesome. Well
That's
done.
great.
Good on
very
you.
excited.
Feather in your cap, mate.
When
Oh, I cried. I was so happy I cried. And then I called my mum to tell her that I was going to get involved with that. So that was the entire reason that I started. I want to be able to show people that, you know, this is a cool career choice and it is really rewarding, and, you know, why not give it a crack? And
that's really cool. And as you say, you know, just try things, right? Just try things, put yourself out there, get out of your comfort zone, because you can always turn around and go back, curl up in your bed if it's all too hard,
That's
you know, and try something else. But you're not going to know if you don't.
what do you got to lose? Do you know what I mean? What do you got to lose?
What the,
Nothing.
I can't literally.
Everything to gain and nothing to lose.
Yeah.
And you can fail, but
I mean, you might
Give
lose a
it a
finger in like a
might rack up a bit of hex
in a
debt.
Like a
machine or
fan.
something, in a fan belt or
Well,
like.
don't do that. Don't do that.
and
Safety first.
Yeah, right. No, that's awesome. That's really cool. Yeah, kudos. I
you.
just have a quick question about, you mentioned you were working in a gold mine earlier.
Yeah.
How close do you actually get to the gold?
We're not close at all. I know. You have all these dreams.
But you're
of
about to say, does that
rock-
mean you were a gold digger? Oh, zing! On camera,
Yeah,
waving
till
at the
next
camera again.
Thursday.
So you mentioned you were in a gold mine. So not very close?
No, so the gold mine I worked at was actually really low grade. So they actually, when they process gold, a byproduct of it is called calcium concentrate. So
Like
they
milk.
Oh my
Sorry.
So we'll edit that
cut that out.
appalling joke out.
Sorry, copper concentrate, not calcium. I'm thinking I got milk on the brain. Cheese.
Right, I'm going to take over here.
That was gold. That was
Very
gold.
low grade gold.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
They have like locked rooms and stuff. The people that work in the gold rooms, they have to take all their clothes off when they come and go from work. But
Yeah, right.
you're not like putting gold nuggets in your pockets.
So
and
that was
marching
going
the
to
wet
be my
mess.
question. Yeah.
Unfortunately, not.
Yeah.
Damn.
Okay, how many beers can I get with this much gold? Yeah, that's cool. But the coal, you're pretty close to.
Coal at the yeah. Well, yeah. I worked this last
Well, you
week.
get
I
it
was
all
working
over
the
your face.
yeah, but it's not, even if you fill pockets with it, you're probably
You
not
get
going
a-
to make that much money.
So you're going underground? much?
No, so I work at an open cut coal mine.
Okay.
I just managed to get so dirty this last swing because we've been doing some construction work on one of our product machines. So it's in the one that scoops up all the product coal to load it onto the trades.
So open cut, how deep is the hole?
Oh, good question. Ken
Like-
Ross actually might be able to answer
Kenny-
this one
yeah,
better than
Yeah,
me.
big PK. I'll have
Cut to
to, have
Ken.
to-
Can we get him on a video chat?
We can dial him in. We can actually do that with this recording machine. I would love to do it someday.
One
I'm
day,
Sure. Yeah,
one
maybe.
day.
Yeah, we'll see how we go. Yeah, all right. Well,
Yeah, it's pretty deep.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, right.
Fantastic. Righto. Well, what do you reckon?
Before we shut it down, I want to know what the future holds for Larzy the Sparky.
Good question.
Inspirational, motivational talk,
Yeah.
getting girls in the trade.
Hey, mate, she's here. She can talk for herself. Thank you. Larzy.
Thanks for that, Dan. So me, obviously, still being an apprentice, just focusing on getting through my apprenticeship, just trying to get the most out of it that I can. I've been so lucky, obviously, doing this Instagram thing on the side, which is kind of beyond my wildest imagination, as big as it's got so far. So yeah, I'm just going to focus on getting through my apprenticeship, try and share my passion for what I do with as many people that will listen to me, I guess. And then, yeah, who knows what the future holds after that.
What
CEO of somewhere.
Oh
Hey,
yeah,
yes.
CEO of Larzy the Sparky Proprietary Limited.
Larzy the Sparky Electrical.
Yeah. What I'm just interested to know what's your favourite tool? Do you have one?
Yeah, so at the moment my favourite tool is probably these like Barco ratcheting ring spanners. I'm actually obsessed with them because my tool bag is so freaking heavy, like it's a joke, and I'm not super strong. So I have this set of 3 ring spanners and it's 12 sizes in one. Like
That's awesome.
I'm obsessed. I know I don't have to drag 12 spanners
It's
around.
ratcheting
And 12, so each like spanner has 4 sizes on it, so each side is a different size.
What has happened the last
Madness.
18 months? We've got to get back in the game.
I know.
Things have
Well,
changed.
they just
Chuck
those
the
barcodes.
tool
They
bag
just
on.
they've got such a nice smooth click, like
Oh.
a nice smooth ratchet. What about cordless tools?
Oh, probably my impact driver, my Makita impact driver, my baby.
Nice.
Awesome.
I know everyone has their favourite tool brand, but I'll fight anyone.
Hot
at this
Koki.
table. Hot Koki. Would you like a Hot Koki hat?
No.
So
Don't want a hot Koki.
I'd like one.
I'm
Anyway,
sure we're gonna hook you up with one.
so I guess if there are any females out there listening, who would be interested to know more about what you do, or maybe want to
hit me up.
hit you up.
Yeah,
So
I'm always down to chat.
at Larzy the Sparky on Instagram.
Yep, that's me.
Dan will put the little subtitle in there.
Yeah, I'll
because you know how to do
try
that.
and edit a
Post-production.
subtitle in there.
Post-production.
And you're sort of open to open
definitely.
to anyone asking questions. And
More than happy to answer any questions. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I don't mind having a bit of a yarn. So if anyone wants to chat, I'm more than happy to give out my phone number. If they live in Brizzy, catch up for a coffee or a beer or something.
but not answering any questions about how to wash a doona. That's been covered.
Yeah.
Was that a
Doona.
pun?
It's not duvet.
Wait, hang on.
Yes, that was a pun.
What was the pun?
That's been covered. Well done.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
I didn't even
pardon
the
that pun.
pun.
Pardon it.
punny,
All
very
right.
punny.
Well, I think that's about us.
Yeah,
Thanks for coming in.
Yeah,
Thanks
thanks,
for
Larzy.
having me.
It was great.
You look fantastic in our shirts.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for repping them.
We'll have to get you in a high-vis one now.
Yeah, I know.
Where to work.
When I have to rock up to work with the same one as Ken on and
Oh, that'll be great.
force one of us
Well,
to
tell
change.
us that's, you'll have to let us know that story.
Actually, we'll start coordinating our outfits at camp.
Yeah, sweet. Love it.
Start a movement.
Yes.
Fantastic.
I love it.
Awesome.
Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks,
Larzy.
Larzy. It was
Good
great.
on you.